right, with it being 8:30 and us having a forum, let's light this candle. Get this rolling. Call the meeting to order, and first order of business is to consider approval of minutes from our August 13 meeting, which is here in front of us. So consider a motion.
Make a motion. I'll second it.
Motion and second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. All right, approval of minutes. So next we go to financial update. Ms. Kenny isn't here. We'll get back to her if she arrives. Next item on the agenda is board committee development discussion. I'll put this on here so we can continue our discussion on our development of the boards and what areas interest us, and more so even to talk about a little bit of our resources, which is, Ms. Joanna Temple, Stephanie Fontenot, who are here, and the sales director and marketing director, respectively. And I think it would be good for each of us who are on these committees to discuss with them how we can best support them and help them in their goal, which is to bring our marketing plan and our sales efforts to fruition and approval. So I look at our roles as very much supportive and as an aid to them, and for us to go out in the community and gather resources, people of knowledge in those areas, and who can help us achieve our goals. And then with the support of our sales director, marketing director, would in turn help them. So I encourage us to set up a time to meet with each of the ladies and really figure out how we can best support them in our role here to bring heads and beds into the community.
Well, we had a good discussion last meeting. Can we act on that, or
no? We
expand, or what?
Can. I mean, this certainly. I think we need to can move into the action mode, and the ladies here are here every day working towards our goals, and so I want to make sure that we are here to support their efforts in a way that is most helpful to them. So I'll set up meetings with each of the ladies myself from my standpoint and from our as a board, and see what kind of and ways we can support y'all the best.
So I remember saying I would kind of help out. I have some other notes from other people.
Yeah, what did I say I would help out?
You were going to help with the leisure.
Yeah.
Well, sports marketing.
Well,
too.
if we
Combine
those, then I was going to.
Yes, Miss Luna was going to, we're going to support each other in those endeavors.
Ron, you're down for annual events and festivals. Which I think Rick had Rick worked on that before?
Yes, I believe he had. Mm-hmm. In the past. So, again, I think what we need to do is speak with our staff here and see what way we can best some areas that they can give us some direction, and then we can set those goals and work towards supporting them in those specific areas that will be most impactful to them. If there's some areas that they...
All for it.
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah.
Okay.
Staff involved.
All right. Good. So
and I'll still continue with the board development, the strategic. Mm-hmm. We're going to hold in February. I can handle that with any staff involvement that wants to be a part of that.
And if there's certainly any crossover in any of the other areas, is very much encouraged and needed. We're all here to support another our prime goal, which is to this is a continued development, but action. We need to start action at this point. Right. Any further discussion in there? All right, I'll move on to next discussion item. We talked about the CVB employee benefits cost comparison as with the city and moving into where the employees are actually going to be city employees who work for the CVB, and maybe the financial impact on us of that change. And we did a comparison. Mr. Jeffers was very helpful with me, and it looks like there are a lot of parallels in the cost of a lot of the benefits that we already offer that go with the city. The main difference is the retirement system and the monetary commitment to that, and I believe that is where we incur certainly the greatest cost increase overall for the staff, and it looks to be somewhere in the mid $35,000 range for the entire staff for those added benefits.
Just retirement?
Yes.
Well, now we had set aside in the budget, there was $35,000 benefits.
Correct.
All right, now then, are you saying it's going to be another $35,000?
I am.
Then what we need to do is take a hard look at the budget, because we just went into the budget for $70,000, which dropped us down to, out of reserve, to about $70,000 or $80,000. And if we're throwing another $35,000 in there, we need to take a hard look at it.
Right. No, and agreed, and that's why I put it on the agenda for us to realize that going into this next year, that would probably be. Now there are some options we have within the benefits that could affect that number, but if I read the comparison correctly, that looks to be about where we would probably wind up for the year. And so, with that, what we could do is go back and look at some of the options we had as far as our advertising and marketing. I know that Chris had laid out 3 very good tiers for us, and that was something that we could certainly look at, and going with a different tier that would have a different financial impact on us for the annual budget. And I spoke with Stephanie a little bit about some of the options that we had on there, and there were a couple of items on there that were large monetary cost for this individual item. That maybe if we scale that back a little bit for that one publication, or did something a little different, that a substantial amount of savings from that being Texas Monthly was a large portion of that. Now, we certainly talk to Chris and ask Chris if we feel that that's impactful enough to garner that amount of money, but that is something that we would have to adjust if we didn't want to go back into our reserves. Is our advertising? We would have to.
To that point, I kind of agree. I'm hearing Jack's concern, and I share it. I don't mind running on reserves from time to time. Any entity is going to have to do that during certain periods of growth and transition. And we know why that's happening, and we're happy that it's happening. But If we go into reserves, we still don't really actually know. I mean, I think you probably gave us a pretty good estimate, but we don't really know what impact the change in high tax is going to have over the next year. It could be worse, it could be better, but I like the idea of at least having a couple years that we could dip into without having to make any major changes. And when we looked at the advertising, I thought all three packages looked great. But there was a concern when we talked about, and that was the biggest area of our budget, when we talked about cutting back on it, there seemed to be a sense of, oh no, let's not back off now because now we need to hit the gas. But there's a lot of different ways you can hit the gas. I certainly don't expect y'all to, we've got no presence in the media out there, and y'all turn that into travel, tourism gold. But at the same time, we're looking at strategies, we're looking at ways that we can help y'all. I know y'all are looking at how y'all can get more proactive. And so I think there's a way that we could spend less, but still look at what we're doing as ramping up our marketing efforts. Just making more out of the leads that we get from the advertising that we are able to afford. But I get nervous about, and even let's say that ultimately this is where the advertising needs to be for us to be able to do the job and bring in the amount of business that we want to Nacogdoches. If we were going to borrow to do that, if we were going to borrow from ourselves to do that, I would rather do it once we've had a year or so of working under a new strategy and we're confident in it, and then we're willing to, we know that it's going to work for us, and then so when we borrow against it or when we take from our reserves, it's a more calculated risk. Whereas now, my concern is that we're spending not necessarily because we're so focused and we're so sure, but we're spending more because we don't want to spend less, because we don't want to perceive ourselves as cutting back or ramp or, and that I just worry about the sustainability of that.
Sure. And
I agree with Jack that I'd like to take a look at what different things we're spending and maybe look, if we're going to have a $35,000 increase, let's take it from someplace other than the reserves.
And I know that the staff has been looking at certainly our expenditures and then the advertising, marketing, really looking at what would be most impactful and in some areas where we could make some adjustments if we so needed to. And maybe in the reports later this morning we can touch on some of that if you're prepared to.
Could I add something also? I would assume that we're within a month or two of having a director. I would hope that we're not going to start making decisions about the budget and what we should and should not support prior to getting a new director and let that director come to us and tell us what needs to be cut, because we're going to start making decisions that's going to affect that budget, and we bring in a new person and he doesn't have a chance to put in any input.
Sure, and that's why I put it as a discussion item, not an action item. And so I want to make everyone aware that of what we're going to be looking at down the road as an increase, certainly as a board, and then when our new director comes in, then at that time maybe it needs to be an action item. Decide, going into the new year where we need to make some adjustments.
When's the budget year start?
October 1st.
That's what I thought. So we're
right here.
We're right there.
Right. And I do have something to add to that. I had met with Dr. Luna one-on-one because she's really our marketing anchor on the board, and I discussed with her, I was in the process of trying to narrow down the options of given advertising. And Shirley and I had come to kind of a conclusion on what she felt would be best and what I felt would be best. And just to catch it all up, we had decided on the $150,000 option provided. So if our total marketing budget is $196,000, we thought we would dedicate the $150,000, and that would leave me with $46,000 to kind of do outside, Facebook promotions, promotional items, all of those expenses outside of those big planned ads. So that's where we had kind of stopped the conversation, and we're hoping to move forward. So that benefits, as far as, this extra 35 that we might need to pull, that's where we were at that point.
There's some dollars there.
So there was 46,000. Now you might need to use that for additional things, but there was
Yes.
sort of $46,000 play in between where our budget was and what.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that was on
That's awesome.
purpose.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, but it was with the purpose of us having that 46 to use, to use on outside marketing, on, promotions that may be outside of these big ads. So yes, it's there to use, how we need to, but our purpose, we were hoping that we would still have that to
Yes.
use, but that is where we stand as far as an option.
We'll take a little from there and a little
Yes.
from someplace
Right.
else. a little from someplace else.
Because I have good news too, so.
Good, good.
Good.
All right, so I just want to make everyone aware of that so we can begin that conversation, begin thinking about where we're going to find these, fund the dollars from. So if there's no other discussion, move on to the reports. And Tony, you're up.
All right. A few meetings ago, I was asked by the board of directors, we kind of narrowed down short-term duties for interim ED. And I was asked to have the sales director create and maintain an outline of a sales effort that include contact information, date of outreach, description, follow-up. And Joanna will present that to you here in just a little bit, as well as Stephanie Fontenot's marketing plan. She's going to do that for you as well, her marketing effort. Just things that she's doing right now, kind of get you up to date. And then also asked that each one of those would give their reports at the meeting, which that's something that they will definitely do. We worked on an in-kind sales incentive package, and it's going to grow, and that's in front of you. Kind of put it in your package to look at whenever you get a chance. But we were talking about things that we could do to kind of offset monetary expenditures and just the fact that we don't have that type of incentive right now. I'm working on a plan to hopefully have a person from the college be able to help us with a grant to the Charles Bright Foundation. They have $30 million that they're going to hand out to nonprofits this year. And so him being such a wonderful champion for tourism and us being in his building, which, the 100th anniversary is this year, we just feel that may be something that we can capitalize on with his family to help tourism and sales continue to bring people, more tourists to Nacogdoches. So we'll roll that plan out a little bit later on. I was also asked to supply you with the staff job descriptions, which we've done. Also, it's an ongoing process where marketing sales are working on an updated media kit and sales package. We'll be able to roll that out to you as well. We are having conversations to create an SFA and community brain trust resource and schedule monthly meetings. Joanna and I are working on that. And then I was asked to send you the Young Report, which I've done that as well. We also were asked to contact Simpleview to see if they were writing any of the website content was included in their current contract, which we found that was not. So that's why Chris and his team helped us with that contact initially. We appreciate that as part of the package. I was asked to attend the Texas Society of Association Executives New Ideas Annual Conference in Houston, which I did this past weekend. What I found that to be is more of just a meeting place for those executives. You do make some contacts. However, they do, I was kind of discussing with the girls, there is kind of a black and white rule where you don't hand out a business card unless you're asked for one, and you don't request one of someone unless they kind of offer it to you, because just of those contacts. So I have about a dozen of those. I did get a chance to visit with quite a few people, but I would not suggest that would be an ongoing trade show for your next ED. Of course, you can look at that a little bit more. It would probably take about 3 to 4 years to build those relationships with some of the Texas high school coaches associations or hospital associations or others like that. but it really is a gathering for those executives, just a community more than anything is what I found. I would suggest in the order of trade shows that we do get to attend Stephanie and Joanna to Connect Texas, Destination Texas, and the Southwest Showcase. Be able to still be able to go to those. I believe that Destination Texas and Connect Texas will both be in Horseshoe Bay, and it will be an excellent opportunity. Those are appointment-based trade shows. They are reverse trade shows. Instead of you having a booth and they come to you, you actually have appointment meetings to sit in front of those meeting planners one-on-one for 6 minutes. And instead of telling them everything about what you do, you ask them what they need. And then from gleaning that customer needs analysis, you go back, put together an effective proposal, and then answer their needs and be able to submit those and preferably walk away with some RFPs while you're there. Then I'd like to invite you to the 100th anniversary party of the Red Cross and the Charles Wright Visitor Center, both created in 1917. And Stephanie Fontenot and I will represent Nacogdoches at the State Fair of Texas on Saturday, September 30th, in conjunction with the Forest Trails and Marty Prince and their group. We're going to be in the Food and Fiber Pavilion on that Saturday, which is the first opening day of the fair. I think it'll be really good. Joanna's did a great job of ordering some tchotchkes, some items that we can have to hand out along with brochures. Then also, Stephanie and Joanna will attend the Texas Travel Industry Association's annual summit coming up in Arlington, October 1st through the 4th, and will participate in continuing education courses for their Texas DMO Empowered and register to begin their journey in the Texas Tourism College. That's something that I feel is extremely important for both of them, especially as being leaders in this industry and to move things forward. Besides that, I've also updated the 2017-18 important deadline dates, which you'll also find in front of you, which tells you about all the next meetings for the board and presentations to council, the fiscal quarterly reviews, the budget and marketing plan deadlines as we get closer to those dates next year, office nominations, CVB audits, the whole thing is all included in there, and you can put those in your packets for you a little bit later on. And Joanna and I had a chance to work on a proposal for a local business, and she can tell you a little bit more about that in her report as well. Any questions?
Thank you very much, Tom.
Mr. Chair, may I move up on the agenda a little bit?
Sure.
So, because I need to go back upstairs, and my little report is not that big. So,
No,
if I may.
so important.
If I may. They asked me to give a little visitor center report. Visitor Center continues to do well. Our visitors love Nacogdoches, love to come downtown. We had 902 walk-ins in August. And August was a little bit slow because that's back to school, a lot of activities going on. Saturdays continue to be very strong. And Friday, the August the 4th, we had 44 people. We had 70 people on the 5th. Saturdays are really strong, 81 on the 12th. So our volunteers are doing a great job in being here on the weekends. This is September. We had evacuees come in. We had 2 ladies from the Paul Taylor Dance Company come in. It was kind of cool from New York. And so the visitor center is doing well, and we get compliments every day on the visitor center and the downtown area.
I have one thing to add to that. If you will join me in singing Happy Birthday to you.
Oh, God.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Mike Bay. Tomorrow, happy birthday to you.
And it's the big one.
20?
Yeah, 20.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say,
It goes back really quickly.
Oh, I know. It won't hurt for long. Thank you. I've got to get back upstairs.
And I wanted to mention Mike did get his fourth quarter sign up emailed out for the visitor center volunteer. And I know a couple have already signed up.
Appreciate your
I want
support.
to make sure our new one's got it.
I got it. Hopefully everybody.
He's already been here.
And you got it.
Yeah.
The fourth quarter sign up.
We continue to need volunteers. I get to come up here most weekends.
Ron's a little questionable on it.
He's questionable.
I can help.
I know.
Well, I mean, I'm just making sure you got the email.
But
We worked a couple yesterday pretty hard, didn't we?
yeah, we did. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, sir. All right, very good. All right, Stephanie.
Okay, so I've got a list where you're sitting. It's the August through September marketing report. And what I did, I kind of laundry listed what I've been working on, but for me that was the easiest way to explain just because I work on such varied tasks. And I separated them, and the first section is marketing promotions efforts. I wanted to summarize what I've been doing. Something new that we've done is I have reached out with Tony's help to 103 The Bull in Lufkin radio station. And we have scheduled ourselves to be on air the first Thursday of every month. And it's only for about 2 to 3 minutes, but I actually go there in person and I'm on there and I'm talking about upcoming events in Nacogdoches and did that for the first time in August. So I'll do that again, but I plan to do it every month. And then we'll kind of see how things go. Either once a month or quarterly, depending on how much is going on. But I want to be on there as much as possible. The more platforms, the better. So I'm excited to be on the radio in addition to what we were already doing. Every month I do submit a column to the Around the Town publication, which is distributed downtown and all over to businesses. So we have a presence in that monthly. And those are 2 free opportunities to advertise. So kind of what you were talking about. We have, there's different types of opportunities, and those are 2 that are free. I do too. So we're seeking out more of those, more platforms. So I also distribute the CVB monthly e-newsletter, which you all should have received. We had a 19% open rate this month going around, which is pretty good for that. We went to TACVB in Fort Worth last month, which is, the Texas Association of CVBs, and we came back with a lot of good ideas. So one of the promotions efforts that I'm working on, we had talked about ways to create pride and a pride initiative in your own town. And so something that I want to do is really develop a way that our local residents can share basically why they love Nacogdoches or, hashtag MyNac, hashtag I love NAC, something along those lines on social media because it has 2 reasons for that. The more people share things like that, the more content that's already created that we can use. Since we are such a small staff, that is wise for us. So that's one option, but it gives us, it's more to promote, and they can point out things that we don't. So I'm really trying to think of the best way to kind of design that and then to debut it to our local residents and say, hey, we want to know what you love about Nacogdoches. Not only local, but our visitors as well. So I'm working on that. One of the ideas that I pulled from the conference was just a button that we could give to everybody that, I love NAC, or similar. A good example is the I love New York symbol, something similar to that, but that we could make our own. So I'm really excited about that, and I'm just developing at this point, but it's something I certainly want to do. Let's see. So I'm always working on the website. I'm the one who makes the changes to the website. So I'm constantly building landing pages so we can promote particular events. So people can go to our website and pull up information about a particular event. So I built one for our wine, whiskey, and brew tours because we plan on, you'll probably talk about this, but we, not to say too much, we're planning on 2 more that we know of. So I wanted to have those listed on the website because it has been successful. It's been an exciting event, so I built that. As far as some marketing collateral that I've worked on, we have ordered a lot of promotional items just because we had a little left over in our budget, that we kind of thought, which we do for this particular fiscal year. So we have been trying to stock up on things that we can give to our people who do attend a conference or a meeting in Nacogdoches, our VIP, our meeting planners, things like that. So we've ordered pens, we've ordered notebooks, we've ordered some really cute USBs they're made of wood, so kind of the piney woods feel. But all these things have our updated logo. A lot of the promotional items that we still have in stock have the old logo. There's a lot of updating that hasn't occurred. So I'm trying to do that because a lot of things we've been giving out are just not current. So I've been taking care of that. Tony mentioned we're going to be at the Texas State Fair. We had the opportunity to send a couple of boxes of brochures to the Texas State Fair that will be distributed throughout the entire duration of the fair. So we're going to send 2,000 brochures that people can pick up throughout the whole fair, which I think is a great opportunity.
Can I ask?
Absolutely.
When you go to the fair, where have they identified where these
Right.
will be
Right.
distributed?
The description, yes, yeah, there is a certain area, and then, but what I had received from the Texas Forest Trails email, putting this up, there would be kind of different areas throughout. So I can find out exactly.
I'm just wondering if they had designated areas that people could go around and see whether or not they just all in one place. They had to go.
Right.
Y'all are setting up in the food and fiber building, right?
Yes, we sure are. So we've got those brochures taken care of. Let's see here. And we've also worked with Chris Hancock to create a banner for the State Fair. It's a real nice 6-foot banner it's kind of just a summary of Nacogdoches. We worked together picking out the images and the feel of it, and I think it's a really good oldest town banner, but it shows a little bit of everything. So we're trying to get as much interest there as we can. Another thing that I pulled from the conference as far as inspiration, we talked a lot at the conference about how our local people have got to be on board promoting Nacogdoches as a destination, because they're the people who are front in line with our visitors oftentimes before we are. And these are people who work at our hotels, they can work at a gas station, just all over town. And so we had heard a story at the conference of people having experience with these workers. Somebody might ask them, okay, what's there to do in Nacogdoches or somewhere else? And I don't know. They might get the I don't know answer, or there's really not that much to do, something like that. Not as positive as we would, as far as the response from our local people. So I created a rat card. We have them upstairs. I hope you pick one up. But the purpose of the rat card is to show visitors that there is always something to do in Nacogdoches. I know when I attended SFA, I'd heard a lot kind of through the grapevine that there's nothing to do here. There's nothing to do in Nacogdoches. And the point of this is just to show that that's not true. There's always something, and there are always great things to do in Nacogdoches. So I created that. It's front and back. It's got a little bit of everything. We invite them to come to the visitor center. We invite them to go to our historical stops. But we also talk about the new attractions as well. So it's as full as it can be, front and back, just of things you can do. Many of those are free. So it's just, the goal is to pass those out to local businesses so that these workers, who are in contact with visitors can have that. And they can either give them to the visitors or they can just refer to it. So we just want to do everything we can so that everybody knows there's a lot to do here. We want you to stay here. Want you to visit. So the more resources that we can put in their hands, the better. And that's what this piece is. I've also been working on the 100th, the joint centennial celebration. I've been working directly with General Buchko with the Nacogdoches chapter of the American Red Cross. That's going to occur on Friday, September 29th. I've been putting together the emails. I'm going to submit a press release to the Sentinel, just kind of expressing the history of both of those entities. So I'm still working on that. And I've also been working on developing proclamations for the event that will be read by Mayor Brophy and by Representative Travis Clardy. They are both going to be in attendance, and so it's going to be a neat deal for them to read those proclamations. Let's see. Chris and I have a Texas meetings planner ad coming up, so we're working on that to finalize that. And as we discussed with our marketing budget, we do have deadlines that are coming up rather quickly, and that's a good example. And so when we had looked at our budget options, I guess from my perspective, the sooner the better as far as us figuring out what we're going to go with. That would help me because we do have these deadlines coming up. And I'd like to have a solid plan as soon as possible. Tomorrow, Joanna and I are traveling to Paris, Texas. We're going to the regional Northeast Texas meeting, so it's a luncheon, but that is a publication that we are featured in, and so it's a good opportunity for us to go, show our face, make those contacts. So, yeah. I'll pass it on to Joanna.
All right.
If anybody has any questions.
All sounds great.
And those are the seed packets that we had done. Can't be in the garden capital of Texas and not be able to pass out seed packets.
We're taking those to the state. Yeah, and then we'll still use them as well.
Yeah.
And that meeting that we're going to tomorrow, not only as a marketing effort, the reason I'm going is because those are the regional partners that we want to reach out, be more in tune with them coming to our locations, us going to their locations. Also what happened at the CVB meeting, which was wonderful, is they did break us up in executive, marketing, and then sales. And everyone in the division of sales they're in it for Texas. So there's a lot of camaraderie. There's a lot of sharing of information. That's why I think building on these regional relationships is going to be huge. And so, like, for example, this wine, whiskey, and brew tour, Tyler Bullard's got the same kind of thing going. Maybe they've got more vineyards. But the idea is they pitch ours, we pitch theirs, so we're doing it for our, Nacogdoches people to go there and vice versa. We win because we have a smaller population. So we get more people from Longview, more people from Tyler, things like that. So, all right, so to start off with, you guys had asked Tony to help me with a sales effort outline, and the reason I didn't have this included until today is because it's not where I need it. Simple view, we have a new account executive, which I'm thrilled with. However, it has been a trial trying to get what I want as a salesperson in a report. The way they are structured is you have a lead, you have an account, and it's more as if I've already got someone on the hook. So in order for you guys to see what I'm doing along the way, I asked for this sales effort outline, and basically it's going to allow you guys to see the client info, who the company is, who the name is, the date that I outreached, the results of those calls, my titles or initial call, follow-up call, results, could be an email in there, and I may have to start that process over again with results depending on what the task is. I'm pretty much a 1, 2, 3 punch person. I get them on the line, I try to sell them, and then I reel in the deal. So this report, as good as it is, what they forgot to do for me was to have it printable. So when I went to go print it, it looked like one of those Excel spreadsheets where you got the whole notes all the way down on 25 pages. So I did a screenshot here, and it still doesn't have everything that I need on it. The lead ID, the lead name, I've asked for those to be, 86. I don't want them in there, but I can't do that because of the structure of the backside of the simple view. It's a long story, but we're getting there. So what I thought I would do as soon as they are able to get the print formatted, I'll just go ahead and email that to you guys so you can kind of see who I'm working with, what I'm doing. And other than knowing that I'm doing my job, I think it's a good reference for you guys to see who it is I'm working with, to where it may trigger you to say, hey, I know something about that, or I've got a group similar to this, and maybe you can reach out to them. So this is one of those give and takes, I think, for sales that'll be beneficial. Just, who you guys know or may not know unless you read this to kind of get an idea of what I'm working on. Okay? So the next sheet in there is right now the definite bookings. I have a few more that aren't in there, but it's just a time thing for me. There's a lot of data entry, and I'm probably not the best at it. But the cool thing about this report, it allows me to put every conversation in there. So it'll be easier moving forward on this sales effort outline. But the definite bookings are those that have gone from tentative or conversation to an actual lead. And so this is what we have on the books thus far. I have 3 additional alumni peeps that are coming in. They'll be at the Holiday Inn. The Texas Ornithology, the host hotel will be the Fredonia, but I do have another block down at Hampton Inn. Pulpwood Queens, it'll be Fredonia, but I've got another 2 contracts at the Comfort and Hampton. And Vintage, I've got Comfort and the Fredonia. The Forestry right now is at the Fredonia, and then the 5K half marathon will be at the Fredonia, as well as the Hampton and the Comfort. So I'm trying to spread the love based on the customer base, and so we're setting up blocks at each.
Could I ask a question?
Sure.
Excuse my ignorance on this. When you say you made these contracts and signing contracts, what are you signing in that contract? Is it something binding that they are for sure coming here or not coming here?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a contract that the Fredonia, the Hampton, the Holiday all sign off on. And to me, when I have that in hand, that's when we're going to turn around and promote it. So the landing pages that Steph does, we also do it for our clients. Because what we want them, some of these will want some spouse itineraries or different excursions. We now have a person in place that's going to help us with that, which is great. But really, it helps us with content, this web content we're talking about, to do naturally through our own efforts. Okay? So this is money in hand. This is when I've got a deposit. Yeah. Okay?
Great.
And I've got to tell you, this pulpwood, having it at this date is like a miracle. So it's really good. And this one's probably going to be the biggest and the best. She has a true who's who as far as in the world of books and publishing. And I don't know any of them, but it seems like several of my friends do, and they want to come just for the panels. So that's exciting for that.
And just to kind of comment on what she's saying there too, you can look at the EEI value, which shows you the estimated economic impact, and that's really good. That's
how's that calculated?
So Simple View has contracted with another group that does economic impact, and it's I can't remember, but it's DMAI, it's industry standard. The thing that hopefully we're getting this year, though, that's going to help me are these buttons I've been talking about forever, because some of these are event economic impact. So I truly don't know what that difference is going to be between a conference and an event. Does that make sense? So the estimated economic impact is different based on the type of event that's here. So Vintage Market is different from...
so they use different equations.
They do. So I've been limited in this. It kind of scares me a bit because I use conference. I don't have the choice yet to push events because it wasn't included in our buy, but that's been resolved. We're getting that button. The other thing that we're getting, which will be better for this sales effort outline, is the other thing I don't get is I can send emails out of the system, but they do not return back into that file on the Simple View in my data my database. So I'm getting that button too.
Well, just looking at it, if you look at the first one, Texas Forestry Association has 30 contracted rooms and an EEI value of $45,000. Then the last one, the Texas Ornithology Society, has 210 contracted rooms for a $60,000 EEI value. If you just take the rooms alone in those, that doesn't add up.
I agree. It seemed like it would be, if $100 a night, you figured you'd at least have over $100 a night, you'd have $1 million in rooms alone.
Yeah, and it really has to do with what I've selected inside of that thing. Whether it's a meeting or a convention. So I have 4 choices. I have convention, I have meeting, I've got trade show, and then I have sports, of which, I don't need sports right now. But that was the package that we bought. And so what we need is events. And then we need to figure out, what do I need to put where? Because it can fluctuate. I never feel like I oversell economic impact, to be quite honest.
I think it's going to be more than this.
Well, and that's a good thing. I never feel like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so why it does that? No.
All right. Well, I get it. So you said you're working with them to try to make this report.
Yeah, cleaner, and I apologize. It looks like I could have just used a Crayola on it, but I think it has everything that you guys initially asked for, and that's where I was going. And that's what we wanted.
If we could get definitions of the EEI value and more understand how that's calculated, so that we can understand where that number is accurate, not accurate. That's right. I don't think it's very accurate.
Well, and what I want to do is get the equation for each of the categories that we have, so y'all all know, okay, that's, what you did. And we may even say, wait, it should be in another category. But that is with DMAI, and we'll remember that, so I'll call and get it. Okay.
How'd you get the lead on the paperweight collectors?
I called them. I've got lots of leads, so it's just a matter of jamming. It was really difficult. I've had a lot of stops and starts because, again, if you don't put a lead in there with rooms, I can't enter it into the system. It was just crazy. So we had to go and develop this, and I just got it last week. It's been something. But we're
Something
there.
else that's going to happen for her is in February, TACVB will have their sales blitz, and they're going to roll out the TextMed, the brand new TextMed platform. So it's really going to be good, and she'll have a whole day of sitting there and having the opportunity to gain some RFPs in February, and as they roll out that plan.
And and that particular rollout, this TextMed, can be integrated into SimpleView, but it'll cost you. So it's a separate, and then you got to put it back over, and that kind of stuff just drives me crazy, but it is what it is. So, and the final good news is on our wine, whiskey, and brew. You know, again, the way this was created was for the purpose of sales and marketing. We want to tie it in when people are coming into town. I mean, the idea is obviously to reach out to folks that are out of town or visiting. And we've been really lucky to have over 50%. It's been more 60, 70% each time of out-of-towners. We've had people from Houston, a couple that came just because it was a tour. I mean, it's exciting to hear the people. Plus, we get all their emails. You know, it's just another way to add them to our database. And one of the best things I heard was from Ray Mitchum's best friend out of Houston. And they said, if we knew Nacogdoches was this fun, we'd move back. So we've gotten nothing but 5 stars on it. The compliments are all on, where are they? Where do they land?
They're all the reviews on Facebook.
Okay. Yeah. So we thought, okay, well, I've got the East Texas Marathon coming in. It's a Saturday event, which we're very excited about. It's a Race Texas event. If you guys haven't ever worked with that body, I mean, they're the producers. They come in, stamp, make everything run smoothly, and then they move on to another market. And I was able to meet with him and his assistant, and Katie Crawford from the Memorial, who's sponsoring it here. They have over 400 people that come to race. They used to have it on a Sunday, but now they're back to doing it on a Monday. They come in on Friday. They spend the night. They don't do a whole lot because they don't want to booze up before they run. It's at 7:30. They finish up at 10:30. Vince is going to be a sponsor. The brewery, he and I were talking. We thought, why don't we do a wine, whiskey, and brew after about 1 o'clock to keep them to stay one more night. And so we've done that. And so I have on the line right now 2 secured wine, whiskey, and brews. But we, with Tony's help, decided to approach Lumberjack Harley Davidson to see if they might just sponsor it so we don't have to be in the business of trying to raise money for a bus, you know, having the fun stuff. We just want to be able to use it as a fun thing when people are in town, or when we have events, maybe on a Saturday, we can do it on a Friday. If we have an early event on a Saturday, keep them here for Saturday night. I mean, we're flexible. We just sold the deal on 10 tours. So it basically works out for them to be about $1,000 each. We're going to have event shirts. I've spoken with our friends over at Zipline that has Pop. What is it?
It's Pop Images.
Pop Images. They're going to be the ones that do our. Again, we're trying to give back to our people that we play with, so they'll be more generous to us. And they're going to do the signs on the bus, and they'll do the T-shirts. And we had a little extra money in my budget to go ahead and kind of initiate that. But again, this contract for $10,000 with Lumberjack Harley is going to kind of cover our behind on it, and so we can have some fun.
Awesome.
Yeah, isn't that great?
It was a great opportunity. And then a little bit of trade through Pop Images, where they'll have their the sleeve and their information, and the Harley on the back, and her wine, whiskey, and brew there. It's going to look good. Thanks. Good time.
Good. Thank you, John. All right. Got some good stuff going on there.
Great job.
All right. That is the last of ours, except for the section, the executive session. If we feel we need to go in there to discuss, I think we've got our emails and stuff of when things are going to occur. So I don't know if that's necessary to go into executive session.
Could I ask, could we receive these a day or two ahead of before a board meeting?
Yeah,
And that's
you
what
should.
you're going to do?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's not in the
And
format.
also, because if I get here, I don't have to sign it. But
We talked about that
I
already.
can only monotask it.
That's a good thing. That's where I need to be.
Do we feel we need to go into executive session to discuss, or we feel comfortable with where we're? Okay. Then last item is to designate the next meeting at 8:30 a.m. Wednesday, October 18th here at the Charles Bright Visitor Center. With nothing else on the agenda, I call this meeting to adjourn.